Ladies and gentlemen, leadership and business are inseparable. You cannot build a strong business without strong leadership, and you cannot be an effective leader if you do not understand the fundamentals of business. They move together, hand in hand, like two sides of the same coin. The first truth I want to share with you is that leadership drives culture, and culture drives results. Too often, businesses fail not because of bad products, but because of bad culture. When leaders show up inconsistently, when they fail to set standards, or when they refuse to hold people accountable, the culture suffers. And when culture suffers, results disappear. A leader's presence, tone, and actions create the culture of the business every single day. Second, a strong business is built on a clear vision and accountable teams. Leadership is not just about inspiration, it's about direction. It's about pointing to the future and saying, that's where we are going, and here's how we're getting there. But a vision without accountability is just a dream. Leaders must demand excellence, track performance, and ensure that every single person on the team knows their role in achieving the vision. Third, communication is the most powerful tool a leader has. Businesses collapse when leaders fail to communicate. Silence creates confusion, and confusion creates chaos. Leaders must over-communicate the vision, the goals, and the standards. Clear communication removes uncertainty, builds trust, and accelerates execution. The best leaders are not the ones with the best ideas. They are the ones who can get everyone aligned around one mission. Fourth, great leaders create more leaders, not followers. If your business relies only on you, it's not a business, it's a job. The true test of leadership is whether you can build other people to lead. Mentorship, empowerment, and trust are essential. Leaders must push their teams to step up, to make decisions, and to grow beyond their current capacity. When you create leaders inside your business, you multiply your impact. Finally, remember this, business growth is always a reflection of leadership growth. If your business is stuck, it's not the market, not the competition, not the economy, it's your leadership. Every time you expand your mindset, your skills, and your capacity to lead, your business will grow with you. Strong businesses don't happen by accident. They happen because leaders choose to grow, adapt, and lead with courage. So, ladies and gentlemen, leadership and business are not two separate conversations. They are one. If you want to build a business that lasts, become the kind of leader who drives culture, sets vision, communicates with clarity, creates more leaders, and grows relentlessly. Because when leadership grows, business follows. Leadership drives culture, and culture drives results. This is one of the most important truths in both leadership and business, yet it is often overlooked. Many people think results come only from strategies, products, or marketing. They believe if they have the right pricing model, the right technology, or the right market opportunity, success will be automatic. But here's the reality, none of those things matter if the culture of the business is weak. Culture is not a soft element of business. It is the backbone, and leadership is the force that builds it, sustains it, and strengthens it every single day. Culture is simply the way people behave when no one is watching. It is the shared values, attitudes, and standards that determine how your team shows up, how they treat customers, and how they handle challenges. You can have the smartest people in the world working for you, but if the culture is toxic, lazy, or unclear, they will not perform at their best. That culture is a direct reflection of the leader. Leaders set the tone, whether intentionally or not. If the leader is consistent, disciplined, and focused, the team will mirror those behaviors. If the leader is sloppy, distracted, or fearful, the team will also reflect that energy. Culture is a mirror of leadership. This is why leadership is not just about big speeches or motivational moments. It's about what you do daily, consistently, and visibly. The way you handle a missed deadline, the way you respond to a client complaint, the way you show up when things get tough, that's leadership. And those actions either strengthen or weaken the culture. If you let small issues slide, you send the message that mediocrity is acceptable. If you avoid tough conversations, you teach your team that accountability is optional. Every moment you lead, you are shaping the culture, whether you realize it or not. When leaders create a culture of excellence, accountability, and trust, results follow naturally. Teams that know their leader is clear, decisive, and consistent don't waste time guessing. They execute faster, make better decisions, and produce better outcomes. On the other hand, teams with unclear or inconsistent leadership waste time in confusion, gossip, and blame. The business slows down and results vanish. The difference isn't in the people, it's in the culture created by leadership. Leaders who take culture seriously understand that it is not built in one big event, but through thousands of small interactions. Saying thank you when someone goes above and beyond builds pride. Correcting small mistakes before they become big problems builds discipline. Celebrating wins as a team builds unity. Setting high standards and living by them builds trust. These are not dramatic gestures, but they are the building blocks of a culture that drives real, measurable results. At the end of the day, leadership is the engine and culture is the vehicle. If the engine is weak, the vehicle doesn't move. But when leadership is strong, consistent, and intentional, culture becomes unstoppable. And when culture is unstoppable, results are inevitable. A strong business is built on a clear vision and accountable teams. Without vision, a business is like a ship drifting in the ocean without a compass. It may move, but it will never know where it is heading. Vision is the leader's responsibility. It is not just a set of words written on a wall or tucked inside a presentation. It is a living declaration of the future. A leader must see the future so clearly that others can feel it, believe it, and act on it. That vision answers the critical questions: where are we going, why are we going there, and what does it look like when we arrive? Without this clarity, people simply show up to work and complete tasks, but they lack direction and passion. With vision, however, every task has meaning, every effort has purpose, and every role connects to something bigger. But vision alone is not enough. A leader who paints a picture of the future but fails to create accountability will not see results. Dreams are cheap. Execution is what separates success from failure. Accountability is the mechanism that transforms vision into reality. It is not about punishing people or micromanaging them. True accountability is about creating agreements, setting clear expectations, and holding people to the standard that the vision demands. Teams that are held accountable are not afraid of being measured. They thrive on it. They know exactly what success looks like, and they know their role in achieving it. When leaders avoid accountability, businesses quickly fall into mediocrity. A culture of excuses develops where deadlines are missed, promises are broken, and results are inconsistent. Leaders sometimes avoid accountability because they want to be liked or they fear conflict, but in doing so, they fail their people. Great leaders understand that accountability is not about being harsh. It is about being fair. It is about making sure every member of the team has the opportunity to rise to the standard, contribute meaningfully, and grow in the process. Clarity and accountability must work together. A leader with vision but no accountability inspires excitement in the short term, but the energy fades when no results show up. A leader with accountability but no vision creates compliance, but the work feels heavy and meaningless. The balance of both is where great businesses are built. When people know where the business is going and are held responsible for their role in getting there, they become engaged, motivated, and disciplined. They begin to own the outcomes as much as the leader does because they see how their individual effort ties directly to the larger mission. The greatest businesses in the world were not built by chance. They were built by leaders who could cast a vision and create accountability. They made sure everyone in the organization understood the destination and felt the weight of their responsibility in reaching it. That combination of inspiration and discipline transforms ordinary teams into extraordinary ones, and it turns an idea into a business that lasts. Communication is the most powerful tool a leader has. In business, miscommunication is one of the biggest silent killers of productivity, trust, and results. A leader may have the best vision, the strongest strategies, and the most talented people, but if communication is weak, the entire system breaks down. People cannot execute what they do not understand. Teams cannot move forward if they are unclear about direction, priorities, or standards. Silence in leadership creates confusion, and confusion leads to chaos. Strong communication, on the other hand, creates clarity, alignment, and speed. Leaders often underestimate how much communication is required. They assume people get it after hearing something once, but the truth is that people need to hear the same message repeatedly in order to believe it and act on it. Overcommunication is not a weakness, it is a strength. When leaders consistently repeat the vision, the goals, and the expectations, they build certainty. Certainty allows people to focus on their work instead of second-guessing. Every moment of unclear communication is a gap where doubt, fear, and misalignment slip in, and those gaps cost businesses time and money. Communication is not just about words. It is about tone, timing, and consistency. A leader's tone sets the emotional state of the team. If a leader speaks with energy, confidence, and conviction, the team feels empowered. If a leader communicates with hesitation, anger, or indifference, the team feels unsettled. The timing of communication also matters. Sharing updates too late means people work without the information they need. Communicating too early without enough detail creates unnecessary panic. Leaders must know when to speak, how to speak, and what to emphasize to keep the team focused and confident. The best leaders also understand that communication is a two-way process. It is not only about broadcasting information, it is also about listening. When leaders listen deeply to their teams, they gain insights that make them better decision makers. They hear about problems before they explode, they discover opportunities they might have missed, and they show respect by valuing their people's voices. Listening creates trust, and trust multiplies the impact of every message delivered. A common mistake leaders make is assuming that because they sent an email or gave a speech, the team is aligned. But true communication is measured not by what is said, but by what is understood. A leader's responsibility is to ensure the message lands, not just that it leaves. This requires patience, repetition, and clarity. It means breaking down complex ideas into simple, actionable steps and checking to confirm that people understand their roles. When communication is strong, businesses' great leaders create more leaders, not followers. The true test of leadership is not how many people listen to you, but how many people you develop who can lead without you. Too often, leaders fall into the trap of wanting control, believing their worth is measured by how much the team depends on them. But dependence is not leadership, it is limitation. If the business cannot move forward without you being present in every decision, then you are not leading, you are bottlenecking. Real leadership is about multiplying capacity, empowering others, and building a structure that grows beyond one individual. When a leader creates followers, they build compliance. Followers wait for instructions, hesitate to act, and depend on constant validation. This might feel safe for a leader who wants control, but it suffocates the organization. Businesses built on followers move slowly, lack innovation, and collapse the moment the leader steps away. On the other hand, when a leader builds leaders, they create independence, accountability, and growth. These leaders within the team make decisions, solve problems, and drive initiatives forward without waiting for permission. The business becomes stronger, faster, and more resilient. Creating leaders requires trust. A leader must be willing to hand over responsibility and allow others to stretch into uncomfortable territory. This means accepting that mistakes will happen. Too many leaders fear delegation because they fear imperfection, but mistakes are part of leadership growth. Just as you did not become an effective leader without trial and error, neither will your people. The role of a leader is not to shield the team from mistakes, but to guide them through the learning process so they become stronger, sharper, and more capable with every challenge. Developing leaders also requires intentional mentorship. Great leaders don't just tell people what to do, they show them how to think. They share their reasoning, their frameworks, and their principles, so others learn not just the answers, but the process of arriving at the answers. This mentorship transforms task doers into decision makers. It builds confidence and allows people to rise to higher levels of responsibility. Leaders who invest time in mentoring their teams create a ripple effect. Every person they build goes on to build others, and leadership multiplies throughout the organization. Empowerment is another key element. Giving someone a title does not make them a leader. Giving them real authority and trusting them to use it does. When people are empowered to take ownership of outcomes, they stop working for the leader and start working for the mission. They begin to see the business as their own, and they bring energy, creativity, and passion that no amount of control could ever produce. Ultimately, the greatest legacy of a leader is not what they accomplish personally, but what they enable others to accomplish. Businesses that thrive long-term are not dependent on one personality. They are powered by an army of leaders at every level. When you create more leaders instead of followers, you build an organization that is scalable, sustainable, and unstoppable. That is the difference between leadership as control and leadership as growth. Business growth is always a reflection of leadership growth. Many people blame external factors for stagnant results. The market is too competitive, the economy is unstable, the customers are difficult. But the truth is that every business rises or falls to the level of its leadership. When a leader grows, the business grows. When a leader stops growing, the business stalls. The pace of your personal development as a leader sets the ceiling for what your company can achieve. Growth in leadership starts with mindset. If a leader thinks small, the business will stay small. If a leader fears risk, the team will fear it too. If a leader refuses to adapt, the business will fall behind. Leaders must expand their thinking constantly, asking bigger questions and daring to pursue bolder goals. Every time a leader shifts from "what can I manage" to "what can I multiply," the business shifts as well. The limitations in the business are often not structural but mental, rooted in the leader's comfort zone. Skills are the next level of leadership growth. It is not enough to have ambition. A leader must continuously sharpen their abilities. This means learning how to manage finances more effectively, mastering communication, improving strategic thinking, and refining decision-making under pressure. Each new skill a leader develops becomes a new strength for the business. Leaders who stop learning quickly become outdated, and so does their business. On the other hand, leaders who embrace constant education, mentorship, and feedback build organizations that evolve and stay ahead. Another reflection of leadership growth is the ability to scale through people. At early stages, leaders often carry the weight themselves, but real growth requires building a team that can carry the mission further. This is only possible when leaders grow in trust, delegation, and empowerment. A business will never outgrow the leader's ability to let go of control. Leaders who cling to every detail suffocate growth. Leaders who expand their capacity to lead through others unlock exponential potential. Emotional growth is equally vital. Businesses face crises, setbacks, and disappointments. A leader's emotional stability sets the tone for how the entire organization responds. When leaders panic, the team panics. When leaders stay calm, focused, and solutions-oriented, the team follows suit. Resilience, patience, and emotional intelligence are growth areas that directly influence business outcomes. The stronger the leader becomes internally, the stronger the organization becomes externally. Ultimately, business growth mirrors leadership growth because businesses are human systems. Strategies, tools, and capital matter, but they are all driven by people, and people are driven by leaders. Every leap a leader takes in vision, skills, mindset, and emotional strength ripples outward into the team and the company's performance. If you want your business to grow, the first question you must ask is not what's wrong with the business, but where do I need to grow as a leader? The moment you raise your standard, your business will rise to meet it.